It's 2:47 in the morning. Your bedroom is pitch dark. You're wrapped in warmth, deep in sleep, and then your eyes snap open. That familiar heaviness in your lower belly. The slow, careful walk to the bathroom in the dark, and that quiet frustration, knowing this probably won't be the last trip before sunrise. If this sounds like your life, you've likely told yourself the same thing I hear in my clinic almost every single week. My bladder just isn't what it used to be. But here's what the textbooks don't put on the front page. For most adults waking up at night, the bladder isn't actually the problem. The signal pulling you out of sleep is being sent from a completely different part of your body. And once you understand where it's really coming from, you can finally stop it. For decades, the standard advice has been painfully simple. Get older, lose bladder control, accept it. Drink less water in the evening. Maybe try a pill. Live with the broken sleep. That's the story most people have followed for years, and almost every one of them is still waking up at 2 a.m. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Waking up to urinate, medically known as nocturia, is rarely a urinary issue in adults over 40. It's the visible symptom of something happening hours earlier in systems no one ever told you to look at. And the moment you address the upstream cause, the bathroom trips quietly fade away. I've spent more than a decade working with patients struggling with sleep, hormonal rhythm, and the cluster of nighttime symptoms most clinicians brush off as just part of aging. And what I've watched over and over is the same pattern. A patient gets handed a prescription for overactive bladder. The medication barely helps because nobody looked at the actual cause. Today, I want to walk you through what's really pulling you out of bed at night in plain language, with the science behind every point. Please keep in mind, this video is for general educational purposes only and is not a replacement for personalized medical advice from your doctor. In the next few minutes, here's what you'll learn. The single hormone that decides whether you sleep through the night or wake up to urinate, and exactly what happens to it as you age. A hidden process in your legs every evening that quietly fills your bladder while you sleep. A breathing condition that can double nighttime urination, and most people who have it don't even realize it. A blood sugar pattern that pulls you out of deep sleep without you ever noticing. And finally, a 5-part evening reset that targets every one of these causes. If you've been losing sleep over this for months or even years, give me 10 more minutes. It's going to be worth it. One quick thing before we go further. If anything in this video helps you, the most useful thing you can do is tap the subscribe button. Not for me. The way YouTube works, this kind of content only reaches the people who need it when accounts engage with it. There are millions of people losing sleep over this exact problem who will never see content like this unless the algorithm picks it up. It takes 2 seconds. And if you'd like to explore some of the natural options we'll mention later, you can check the description or pinned comment where I've added helpful links. Alright, let's get started. The whole story begins with one molecule. Its name is vasopressin, also called antidiuretic hormone, or ADH. It's the single biggest reason your grandparents could sleep 8 hours without ever stirring. Here's how it works. Your pituitary gland, a tiny structure at the base of your brain about the size of a pea, releases vasopressin in a rhythm across the day and night. During daylight, levels stay moderate, but as evening sets in, vasopressin output is supposed to climb sharply. By the time you're deep asleep, levels should be 3 to 4 times higher than they were at noon. So what does this hormone actually do? Picture your kidneys as 2 intelligent filters making thousands of tiny decisions every minute about how much water to send to your bladder. Vasopressin is the message that tells those filters, hold the water back, the body is resting. When it's working properly, your urine becomes more concentrated overnight, your bladder fills slowly, and you sleep straight through. Now, here's where the trouble begins. Somewhere after 40, and much more sharply after 55, your brain's nighttime release of vasopressin starts to drop. Research from sleep laboratories in Northern Europe has shown that adults over 65 can produce up to 60% less nighttime vasopressin than they did in their 30s. The filters stop receiving the message. Urine production stays at daytime levels, sometimes higher. Your bladder fills 2 or 3 times faster than it should, and you wake up. The bladder didn't get weaker, It just got overloaded. This is why drinking less water in the evening barely helps. You're not addressing the hormone, you're just leaving yourself thirsty. But the hormone story is only chapter 1. There's a second mechanism that catches almost everyone off guard, and it has to do with your legs. Think about your day. You sit, you stand, you walk a little, you sit again for hours. While you're upright, gravity is quietly pulling fluid down into the tissues of your lower legs and ankles. Especially if your circulation isn't sharp, if you had a salty dinner, or if you take certain blood pressure medications. By evening, anywhere from half a litre to a full litre of fluid can be sitting quietly in your legs. You may not see swelling, you may have no sock marks on your ankles, but the fluid is there. The moment you lie down flat, gravity reverses. That stored fluid drains back into your bloodstream. Your heart pumps it through your kidneys, and your kidneys do what kidneys do. They filter it out as urine. Within 90 minutes to 2 hours of lying down, that fluid arrives at your bladder, and you're awake. This is exactly why so many people notice their worst nights come after a day of desk work, processed food, or a heavy, salty dinner. The kidneys are processing the leg fluid that pooled all day. Now there's a third cause that's wildly underdiagnosed, and it may be the biggest one of all. If you're someone who snores heavily, listen closely. When someone has untreated sleep apnea, meaning the airway partially collapses during sleep and breathing pauses for short periods, the heart starts working much harder to push blood through. Each time the body fights for air, the chambers of the heart stretch slightly. And when the heart stretches, it releases a hormone called atrial natriuretic peptide, or ANP. Translated into plain language, ANP tells the kidneys, dump the salt, dump the water, lower the pressure. The kidneys obey. They start producing large volumes of urine in the middle of the night. The patient wakes up convinced their bladder is the problem, but the real problem is in their throat. Studies published in major sleep journals have shown that treating sleep apnea, sometimes with nothing more than sleep position changes, gentle weight management, or a CPAP device recommended by a doctor, can cut nighttime urination in half. If you snore, if your partner has nudged you to roll over at night, or if you wake up feeling unrefreshed after a full night in bed, this might be your real cause. Please speak with a qualified sleep specialist to get properly evaluated. There's one more pattern I want to put on your radar before we get to the protocol: blood sugar. When you eat refined carbohydrates in the evening, things like pasta, white bread, dessert, fruit juice, or sweetened drinks, your blood glucose can climb modestly above the normal nighttime range. Your kidneys respond by pulling water along with the excess sugar to flush it out. This is the same mechanism that causes frequent urination in diabetes, but a milder version quietly happens in millions of people who don't have any diagnosis at all. If you've ever noticed your bathroom trips are worse on nights you ate something sweet or starchy late, this is why. The sugar pulled the water, and the kidneys delivered it to your bladder while you slept. Now we finally get to the part you came here for. What to actually do, starting tonight. Step 1. Front-load your fluids. Drink most of your water before 6 p.m. After dinner, only take what you need to swallow medications or stay comfortable. Cutting off fluids a few hours before bed doesn't dehydrate you. Your body holds plenty in reserve from the day. Step 2. Drain your legs before bed for about 20 minutes. Lie flat on a couch or the floor and rest your legs straight up against a wall, ankles above your hips. This empties the day's fluid back into circulation before you sleep, instead of dumping it into your kidneys at 2 a.m. Many people report dropping from 3 or 4 bathroom trips down to just 1 within the first week of doing this every night. Step 3. Cut your evening sodium aggressively. A salty dinner, even a healthy one like miso soup, deli meat, or restaurant meals, almost guarantees fluid mobilization later that night. If you eat out, ask for your meal prepared without added salt. Step 4. Eat your last carbohydrates at least 3 hours before sleep. Move starches and sweets earlier in the day. Let dinner be protein, vegetables, and healthy fats. This helps stabilize overnight blood sugar and removes one of the most common triggers. Step 5. Get properly screened for sleep apnea. especially if you snore, wake up with a dry mouth, or feel tired despite 8 hours in bed. A home sleep test is affordable, takes one night, and can be truly life-changing if you're a candidate. Many people who treat their apnea stop waking up to urinate entirely. Now let me warn you about 3 traps I see people fall into. First, quitting after 3 nights. Vasopressin rhythm and fluid patterns take a full 2 weeks to recalibrate. Give the protocol time. Second, cutting all water. Drinking less doesn't fix the problem. It just concentrates your urine, irritates the bladder lining, and often makes nighttime trips worse. Third, treating the bladder instead of the source. Medications aimed at overactive bladder do nothing for vasopressin decline, leg fluid redistribution, or sleep apnea. You could spend years on those pills and still be up 3 times a night. Sleeping through the night isn't just about feeling less tired. Deep, uninterrupted sleep is when your brain clears metabolic waste, when memory consolidates, when your immune system runs its maintenance cycles, when your hormones reset for the next day. Every single bathroom trip in the middle of the night quietly steals a fragment of that. People who resolve their nocturia routinely tell me that within 2 weeks, their morning focus is sharper, their mood feels steadier, their blood pressure calms down, and even their headaches ease. The body has been quietly asking for this for years. Waking up to urinate is not a normal consequence of getting older. It's a signal, a precise biologically meaningful signal that one of 4 systems in your body is asking for attention: the hormone, the legs, the breathing, the blood sugar. You now know exactly what to look at, and you now know exactly what to change. And your body, given the right inputs, will respond faster than you expect. If this changed how you think about your nights, do me one small favor. Share it with someone in your life who's been struggling with the same thing. There are tens of millions of people losing sleep over a problem they've been told they simply have to accept. Drop a comment below and let me know which of the 4 causes you suspect is yours. I read every single one, and if you'd like to go deeper, my next video breaks down the specific foods that naturally support healthy nighttime vasopressin levels without medication. That one's coming up soon. I'll see you there. Disclaimer: this content is intended for educational purposes only and does not constitute medical advice. Always consult a licensed healthcare professional before making changes to your diet, sleep habits, medications, or health routine.